Okay, so today we're doing a deep dive into LinuxFX,
Okay.
which is also known as WindowsFX 11.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a Linux-based operating system.
Right.
And it's supposed to be kind of like a Windows-like experience.
Yeah.
So we've got like this whole overview document on it.
Okay.
And we're gonna we're gonna become LinuxFX whizzes by the end of this.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay, so like what's interesting about this is that like a lot of people are afraid of Linux, right?
Yeah, they're intimidated by it.
They don't want to learn it. It's like a whole new thing.
Right, and LinuxFX is really trying to address that like head on.
So like how are they doing that?
Well, they're trying to make it as painless as possible to switch from Windows
Okay.
by making it look exactly like Windows.
So it's like they've got like
Mm-hmm.
like the taskbar and the start menu and an icon.
Things that you're used to.
It's like they just like
Reskinned.
reskinned Windows.
Yeah, exactly. Like visually, it's very, very similar.
And they even have like a Cortana-like voice assistant.
Right, but it's actually powered by Google Assistant.
Oh, wow.
So it's not actually Cortana,
Interesting.
but it looks and feels like Cortana.
Okay. So that's pretty clever.
Yeah.
But it also raises some questions for me, like, is it too much?
Yeah. Is it going to confuse people?
Yeah. Are people going to think that it's actually Windows
Exactly.
and then be disappointed when it's not?
That's the thing. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not just a visual thing, though?
Right.
They've also got like pre-installed apps that like Windows users are probably already using.
Yeah. Like, well,
So they've got LibreOffice, which is like a free alternative to Microsoft Office.
okay, cool.
And they've got Edge and Chrome browsers.
So you're not losing out on any of the
Yeah.
key tools that you need.
Okay. So you're not losing anything. You're just getting like a new look and feel.
Yeah, basically. And the core of it is still Linux.
Okay. And then, what is this? Wine and Play on Linux?
Oh, yeah, this is cool.
That's mentioned in here?
So this is a compatibility layer. So you can actually run Windows apps and games on LinuxFX.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So like,
So you don't have to dual boot or anything?
exactly. Like that's one of the,
That's awesome.
yeah, big advantages here. Like a lot of people, they want to switch to Linux, but they're like, oh, but I need this one program
Right.
that only works on Windows.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
this kind of solves that problem.
So like my favorite Windows-only game,
Mm-hmm.
like that we need to actually work on this?
Potentially. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. But how does that even work?
Well, it's basically a translation layer.
Okay.
It's called Wine, and it tricks the Windows applications into thinking they're running on Windows.
So it's like magic.
Kinda, yeah.
But it's not perfect.
Okay.
Some applications might have some issues.
Right.
But it's getting better all the time.
Okay, so it's not a guaranteed thing.
Right.
But it's possible.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So we got to talk about the perks of Linux itself.
Yeah, what's so great about Linux?
So it's known for being like, blah, blah,
Yeah.
really fast and secure.
Yeah.
And open source.
Right.
Which is a big deal for a lot of people.
Yeah, and so LinuxFX inherits all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're likely to see a performance boost, especially on older hardware.
Yeah, and when we talk about security, Linux is just inherently more secure
Mhm.
than Windows. Its architecture is designed in a way that makes it more difficult for malware and viruses to take root.
Okay, so that's like a huge selling point for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so installing this thing is supposed to be super easy.
Yeah, it's designed to be.
Even if you've never touched Linux before, like they've got a step-by-step process.
Yeah, that's like a wizard that guides you through it.
And the updates are supposed to be seamless too.
Yeah, thanks to the Linux package management system.
So you're always getting the latest features.
Yeah.
And security patches.
And a lot of times it's automatic, so you don't even have to think about it.
Oh, that's really nice.
Mm.
Okay, so who is this for?
Well,
Like, who would benefit most from this?
I think anybody who's curious about Linux but has been intimidated by the learning curve, this is a great way to kind of dip your toes in.
Yeah, and it mentions in here, like, schools, offices, anybody on a budget.
Yeah, because there's a free version. So
Okay.
it could be a really cost-effective solution.
Okay, and what about, like seasoned Linux users?
Yeah, I mean, even seasoned Linux users might enjoy this,
Okay.
especially if they collaborate with a lot of Windows users.
Right.
It could be a good way to kind of bridge that gap.
Okay.
Right.
But time for a reality check.
All right, let's get real.
Okay, so this isn't officially affiliated with Microsoft,
Yeah.
so compatibility isn't 100% guaranteed.
Exactly.
So even though a lot of Windows programs will probably work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a sure thing.
Right. And I think that's one of the potential downsides of making it look so much like Windows.
Yeah.
Is that people might assume that it's going to work exactly like Windows.
Right.
And then they might be disappointed when they run into those limitations.
Yeah, it's like you can't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly.
So it looks and feels like Windows.
Yeah. Under the hood.
It's Linux.
It's Linux.
So where does this fit into, like, the future of operating systems?
That's a great question.
Like, are we going to see more of these hybrid approaches?
Yeah, like blending the familiar with the new.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting trend to watch.
Yeah, and I think LinuxFX is a really good example of that. So for our listener, if you're curious, I would definitely encourage you to check this out.
Yeah, it's worth exploring.
It might just change your whole perspective
Yeah.
on what an operating system can be.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's our deep dive into LinuxFX.
Awesome.
See you next time.
See you later.